With us right now, my good friend, Mitch Stephen. Mitch, how are things going?
I'm doing well, Josh. Thanks for having me. I'm excited out here promoting my new book, The Art of Owner Financing. So I have about $26 million out from private lenders. That's how I run my business. People go, well, how do you get $26 million from private people to flip houses with? I said, well, first thing you do is you pay them back on time.
Funny thing that about lenders is they like to get their money back with a little bit of interest.
Yeah. Do what you said, mail the check on time. I mean, I didn't start with 26 million. I started with a measly small piece of money from my dad. I think it was $30,000, but I kept paying him back. So he would give me more. And when he ran out, someone else wanted to do it. They started seeing the track record. So basically what I talk about in this book is I'm really sending it out for people to go learn how to be their own bank. Quit letting Wall Street dictate what you're worth by the end of the year, because we don't know. It's like a gamble, like you're living by the ticker tape. And even though you may be up $1 million at 12 midnight on December the 31st, the next day you could be worth half, so it's no way to live. I'm saying, why don't you get some steady real growth and deal with some business and some lending practices that you can predict what your income is going to be or what you're going to get if you don't get paid, which could be worth way more than what your money could have earned in interest. So
yeah. So when we're talking about money and access to capital, right? Are we kind of comparing this versus institutional lending?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're comparing it to banks. We're looking hard at banks. When you drive through town and you look at the tallest buildings in the town, whose name's at the top of them? Banks.
Always the banks.
They're making a ton of money loaning money, but they don't want to teach you how to loan money because that's what they do. Well, I'm going to teach you how to loan your own money even better than they do. You can loan their money for higher interest rates than them, and you can loan your money with better collateral than they ask for, and you kind of have to, because you're not federally insured. You're not federally backed, and the loans that you'll be giving won't be FHA guaranteed or whatever. So you have to do things a little bit different, but still, I borrow money. I never borrow more than 65% of what I can own or finance my property for, sell my property for with financing. I average only borrowing 58%. So on $100,000 house, I'm giving someone a first lien, one person or one company, whoever's loaning me, I'm giving them a first lien on that property at $58,000. And if I don't pay them, they get my $100,000 house. So really the worst thing that can happen is I pay them on time and they make their 8 or 9%. Or 10%, whatever the case may be. And if I don't pay them, they pick up $42,000 worth of equity in a house that they can liquidate pretty quick. Now, They may not get exactly all the 42, but maybe they get 38 or 36 or 35 or 34,000 overnight, And so that's the art of private lending is really me showing you what I've done all these years to not have hardly any defaulted loans that I got hurt on. I mean, I can't even think of one. I've never gotten hurt on a loan. I got hurt on some properties I bought when they burnt down or a tornado hit them, but never from someone just not paying me. I was always able to come out.
So Mitch, just so folks know, again, you go to Mitch's website, you'll see that Mitch is looking pretty good these days. You've lost a lot of weight. You've talked about that as well, like your personal story. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
No, I also wrote about 81 pages about my transformation. I quit drinking and smoking after no tragedy whatsoever. I just had enough. And then, with no doctor, no patch, no therapist, no anything. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. You probably really shouldn't do it that way. And for dang sure, don't
white knuckling, baby.
Because I heard some people have died from stopping drinking, when they stopped abruptly. Yeah. So don't do it the way I did it. But, and then I quit smoking and drinking, and I lost about 60 pounds, started showing up in the gym to try to fill up a lot of dead time. When I stopped drinking, I figured out that I had 30 to 40 hours a week that I didn't know what to do with. Wow. So I didn't realize that you spent that much time under the influence, but you started happy hour around 6 and you finish around 11:30.
Yeah.
And you're not getting smashed, falling down, anything like that, but you're just under the influence for a long time. So yeah, I had enough of that. I could go no further under that weight. I went a long ways dragging cigarettes and alcohol. I went to a lot of people would like to be where I'm at. I was a very, what do you call it? Functional drinker, highly functional. Probably, I like to call myself, I was a professional. But, there comes a time and place at about 60 years old, like I can't carry this weight anymore. I got to do something else. So in my book, 1000houses.com/enough, all lowercase, you can find out how I rationalized and how I figured out to do this in my head, just kind of common sense in my way through, little science, but mostly common sense. And if, a lot of triple A's out here in the entrepreneurial world, a lot of triple A's. And I see a lot of it out there. Some people are suffering and don't know it, and some people are suffering and know it. But I was one of those people that was suffering for a long time, didn't know it. I thought that was normal. I thought I was normal. After writing this book, the last thing I did when I finished Enough, I closed it out, finished writing the last page and said, holy cow, I was screwed up. That's the first time I really realized how bad it was, Wow. But so you straighten it all out, and I got plenty of time to write more books now, because 30 or 40 hours a week is a lot of time.
Yeah, no kidding. So that website is 1000houses.com/enough. While you're explaining that, I did it myself. So you just got a link right here. You don't even have to opt in. You can start reading your book. Mitch, thanks for making that available.
Yeah, it'll give you a digital download if you go to 1000houses.com/enough. You can get the digital book for free, because that's one of those things. It's like, hey, Mitch, this isn't something to make money off of. This is apparently struck a chord, and a lot of people are asking you that a lot of people may need help out there. So let's just do this one. And, instead of trying to answer everybody's question individually, I said, I'm just going to write everything I know about my experience and then put it out there. And if I miss something, it's a digital book. I can add it. So if you have a question that I didn't answer in the book and you want to know the answer and I have the answer, I'll modify the book and update it. Yeah.
So Mitch, you're known for, when we talk about 1000 houses, it's actually an outdated title. It's an outdated brand. Tell us about that.
Well, my first book, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom, which was how a dummy figured out how to buy 100 houses a year for over 2 decades. So in this book, it was a story about that transformation. I did have a tragedy happen back then, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I started journaling and cataloging, ended up turning into a book. I never meant it to be a book, but that was in 2008. And so it really should be my life in 2,500 houses now, or, however many, but it's hard to go back and change a book cover. So I've just stayed with my life in 1,000 houses, but I buy about 100 houses a year, and I have for over 2 decades. And I seller finance about 70% of them. And I do it all with private money from my private lenders, whom I borrow from and give them a first lien on my properties. And we go about our business, and everybody wins. The lender wins because he gets to make a premium rate of return with a real piece of collateral that's not too difficult to understand. The renter wins because I'm moving him into being a homeowner. And so the homeowner's winning, and then me and my family win. I get to make a great living and get paid handsomely for what I do too. So I really enjoy helping people get to home ownership, moving them from the renter box over to the owner box, because most of the wealth in this country, most people's wealth is in their house. The equity that they have in their home. That if you look around, you'll find out that a ton of people, if not most of Americans, the majority of their wealth is in the equity in the house that they bought 30 years ago.
Yeah. So Mitch, if I've never invested in real estate, can I do what you do?
you can do anything you want to do, but you know, you have to get some education and get over some limiting beliefs. What keeps most people out of this business is they think they need money to make money. And if that was the case, we would all still be broke, because I don't think anybody I know, including you, started out with any money. Did you start out with money?
Oh, no.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So you have to get over that limiting belief. I mean, in the real estate world, it's as simple as this. If I find a house for 100 grand that I can buy for 50, then I just walk around town with a sign over my head and a megaphone screaming, who wants to make half of $50,000 with me? And then everybody raises their hand, and I say, okay, who's got 50 grand to come buy the house? Because I'm going to split my deal with whoever has the money. And so the deal finds the money. You know, if you're trying to buy that $100,000 house for 99,000, nobody's going to show up with the money. But you're trying to buy a $100,000 house with $50,000. Someone wants $25,000 for them putting up their 50 grand to help you buy that house and partner with you. So, you know, and when you don't have money, you're a professional deal finder. You're a professional deal finder, contract writer upper. How do you like that for choice of words? You know, your job is to find a great deal, get it under contract, because that contract's very valuable. It could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not worth $1 million. You know, a contract can be worth a ton of money. It doesn't take much money to write a contract or to negotiate a deal.
So how do you find, I mean, it sounds kind of like a too good to be true kind of thing. Like, how can I find that great of a deal in real estate? Like, do you have any pointers on that?
Well, I mean, my second book was My Life in 1,000 Houses, 200 plus ways to find bargain properties.
Well, there we go.
You don't find them on MLS. You got to go where the chaos is, where there's death, divorce, transfer. There's good chaos. People won the lottery. They got an inheritance. It causes great upheaval, forces people to move on and to let go of things that they no longer want or want to deal with, you know, or can afford. So, you know, I live where there is chaos, and the chaos is usually started by some great change, and a lot of times by death. And so that's where I live. That's where I find bargain properties, because people that get into this chaos don't know what to do with it, don't know how to deal with it, don't have time to deal with it usually. And if you don't find someone like me, they're going to end up with goose egg zero if they don't do something pretty quick, because there's factors where they can lose it all and never get one dime. So I'm just an expert at navigating that chaos and the time frames and the finances that it takes to make sure people don't lose everything.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Mitch, you know, I know that you work, I mean, obviously you've got the books, and those are, I would imagine you could get all of those. So you go to 1,000 Houses, you can find access.
Houses.com, or you can get them on Amazon. I mean, you can find me. I'm not too hard to find, Josh.
That's good. And then beyond the books, you work with folks too, right? And how do you work with students?
Well, I only have 3 levels. I have an online course. I have a Tuesday night Q&A call that comes with the online course, so you have something to ask questions about. And then I got the one-on-one, which maybe I take 12 people a year at $25,000 a person. But we got to have, before we can even talk about going that level, I need to have about a 45-minute conversation with you to figure out if I can really help you, because I'm not taking $25,000 from somebody if they're in a market that I don't understand or that doesn't work with my strategies, or if they're not ready for what I'm fixing to dump on them. So, you know, I really want to have that conversation. I can't emphasize enough. I only take about 10 or 12 people a year. I take people that I can win the Super Bowl with, you know, or that I think I can. And even if we just make it to the playoffs, by then you damn sure got your $25,000 back. So I just want to play on a winning team. And if you're interested in that, you just go to 1000houses.com and click on the coaching stuff there. Again, I'm not hard to find. You can get anything you want to at 1000houses.com. You can see my YouTubes, my blogs, my podcasts. I just interviewed my 500th person on my podcast, Josh.
Wow.
So
yeah, very cool. Mitch, right now, again, we're kind of having this conversation toward the end of, toward the end of 2021. What's going on in the market right now? Like, why should we be paying attention to what you're talking about, given what we're seeing?
well, my philosophy is the days that my little 3-2 affordable houses, my little Walmart houses for Walmart people, the day those aren't worth anything, then your money was not worth anything, no matter where it was, no matter what. The day those little houses in this country aren't worth any money, I figure we're picking up guns and going someplace.
Yeah.
No one's going to be worried about your stock portfolio or
always going to be worth something.
Yeah, I think a house is always going to be worth something. I don't know where people are going to live if they don't live in houses. So
yeah. So, but that kind of the nature of the market right now, kind of given all the turmoil we've experienced over the past year and a half, like how is that impacting your work?
The owner financing strategy booms in a recession because the banks usually clam up, and then I have private money to buy my houses, and then my buyers don't need a bank because I'm financing them. I'm the only guy open in the recession. I'm open on the buying end and I'm open on the selling end because I don't require a bank either time. And I was buying a house a day and selling a house a day in the 2009 to 2010 segment there. There was a segment there. I was buying a house a day and selling a house a day for 45 days in a row till I scared myself. But, today, I don't know what happened, but my seller financed homes were selling in 9 days on the market. And then COVID hit, which I thought would have been a bad thing. And then the sales went down to 4 days. So the last 200 houses I've sold since COVID, they've been on the market for an average of 4 days before they're sold. And the reason is, I think a lot of people are getting hurt and can't get a traditional loan because of the recession and then COVID, they're losing their jobs or whatever. And so the amount of people that can qualify for a traditional bank loan keeps shrinking. I heard the other day, and I don't know if it's true, but it feels true, like 35% of this people in this nation couldn't get a traditional mortgage. And it feels right to me because I got thousands of people following me on my house site here where I post my owner financed houses. And all I got to do is post a house for sale, and in 4 days, my salesman has it sold. So, and there's also a shortage of housing because of materials, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a shortage even before COVID.
Yeah.
We were starting to get short.
Especially in hot markets. Like I'm in Florida, and I mean, it's crazy how fast houses will resell and add a premium too, which, trends are your friends, pay attention to that. Okay. So Mitch, your website, 1000houses.com, Mitch Stephen. Again, thank you so much for the free book. So that's 1000houses.com/enough. And you can read Mitch's story about how he gained control of his mind. Mitch, your weight, obviously, in your life. Thanks for documenting your journey there. And hopefully that inspires some people, whatever the kind of the behavior changes that they want for themselves. So thanks for documenting that.
Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it. And maybe we inspired some people to move forward or go ahead in the creative real estate space or in the personal space of health. So I appreciate you having me on. That's the power of these podcasts, that they go and they can reach people that you never thought you'd reach. And you can be reached by people that you never even looked for. So it's great that you do this kind of thing.
Thanks, Mitch. Have a wonderful day.